Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the perverted reality within now a lot of institutions, whether they be government or private sector, and particularly if it's government and private, supposed or so-called private sector entities that rely almost 100% on government protection or government orders or government protected market oligopolies and so on. This is where you see it sort of in the most, but even outside of that as well, where this incompetence, ineptitude, any sort of fuck up, no matter how bad, is tolerated and considered to be, oh well, that's kind of how it is. And there's more and more of this happening as the standard of worker declines and the ethos of the profit motive, efficiency, the most effective way of doing things, the best qualified people, and so on. And also the idea of the best customer service. And because where you've got the profit motive, the best we can, the best customer service, then you have automatic drivers that drive you to higher quality people, higher quality outcomes, higher, more efficient, and better cooperation between people. You have people of various skills have to get together to cooperate to create better quality customer service, better quality products, that sort of thing. But when you lower the standard, then that need for cooperation, that need for coordinating and focusing on a common objective, that's dissipated, and sometimes it can disappear altogether. Now, over the last few weeks, I've had a sort of if you like, an extra or multiple extra doses of dealing with, say, the health industry at various levels. And I think I've mentioned, I help out certain elderly and infirm relatives, and I was also helping out a sort of like friend of the family, in one of their situations. And it just so happened there was a whole lot of things came together at once. And so I was on close to a daily basis, in fact still am, close to a daily basis dealing with hospitals, drug companies, medical insurance organizations, and so on and so forth. So now I don't normally have that much to do. I've got some to do, but I'm a pretty healthy guy, so I don't need it. But these people do. When you've got an elderly infirm relative, they have a lot of health needs, and so the way it's structured, you've got to be driving them to and from appointments and all these sorts of things. And because they're mentally unable to cope with that complexity, then you have to be with them when the doctor's there to understand what they need to do and ask questions of the doctor and make sure they do it. Now, not that other relatives don't help from time to time, but just over the last few weeks, a bunch of that stuff landed on my plate, and I actually struggled a bit to cope with it all. But nonetheless, so I want to talk about this idea of patients can die all over the hospital, nobody cares, COVID or something. Hey, who cares? It's just, hey, that's just how it is. But if a microaggression or a perceived or imagined microaggression occurs, then all the resources of the organization rush as it's like a bolt of electricity. All the resources of the organization rushed to deal with a microaggression, stepping over all the dead bodies that are in that have just passed away in the meantime. Hey, who cares about that? That may be our supposed mission to care about the health of our patients and administer to them, but the real issue is this microaggression. It could be a Nazi. It could even be Hitler. It could even be Hitler who's committed the microaggression. So it's become so ideological, hysterical, and because you've got much lower quality people that are in pretty much all the key roles, and you've got now, instead of just having, for example, nurses in the hospital, you now have these massive ideological departments of human resources and diversity, equity, inclusion, and race equality, and gender this, and fucking trans that. And so you've got these huge departments that employ a lot of people, and you've got more of them than you do of the people actually delivering frontline care, which seems quite astonishing, but there it is. Similarly, and I noticed this at a local hospital, that the head nurse, or the matron, whatever you call them, of the hospital is a brown midget woman that speaks passable English, I guess. And the second in charge is a white lesbian, very angry white lesbian. And the only men employed there are these gay little simping, mincing guys. I mean, if you went to a place and said, look, create a workforce where everyone box ticks the affirmative action stuff, you'd go to this place. And they behave accordingly. And as I think I've mentioned in a previous video, you look at I walked past their staff amenities lunchroom thing, and the door was open, and there's all these. The whole wall is just full of fucking microaggressions. Hitler is there, Trump is Hitler, and and you couldn't get them all. I mean, it's ideological fanaticism on fucking steroids. But that's the place. So you can imagine how they would. They don't. And I mentioned in a previous video, I complained that the patient that I'm supposed to be looking out for while the relatives are away hasn't been getting the medical procedure that they're paying for, and that he needs to, as I understand it, to return to health, and is on his list of things. And I complained that he wasn't getting it, and he wasn't. But instead of actually dealing with the issue, oh, gee, sorry about that. Wow, that's supposed to happen. Oh, gee, instead of dealing with that issue and correcting the issue, there was no care. They didn't give a fuck, which is what intrigued me. It was just a shoulder shrug. We don't care. And their main concern was I caught them out and that I may have made an issue. So they zoomed in and they bang. So they're dealing now with microaggression. You've been aggressive to our staff. You've accused and this and that and so on. And so they invented this utter fantasy of microaggressions in order to obscure their responsibility for failing but they didn't attempt to correct the problem. This was the issue. Instead, all resources were dedicated to crushing the microaggression, which after a standoff, and they had to use deception to try and get me into a place where they could launch the attack, which was an ambush, by the way. So, but it goes on, and again, just the last few weeks, I've had a lot to do with this wider sort of medical type field because of the various relatives, all their needs kind of coalesced into one sort of, if you like, time zone. So I had much more of it than I normally would. But in other cases, we had to take the elderly relative to a specialist, and I'd asked for certain test results from a previous specialist thing to be provided to us, and there was no problem there. Can you email that and and yes, email. Now, if you've got any problem with emailing and any problem with getting this approved, I'd already gone through a laborious process of getting doctors to sign approvals, which took a lot of time, by the way. And so the operative says, yeah, of course I'll let you know if there's a problem. Anyway, the stuff doesn't turn up, so I've got to follow it up. It's the person says, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Oh, well, look, I'll do it tomorrow. Still doesn't turn up. Then go back again. That person's no longer, that person isn't there on that day. The next person, who's an Indian, denies it, and there's no record of that here. I don't know what you're talking about. The doctor hasn't approved it. And by the way, the doctor's left early for the day. What about tomorrow? Doctor isn't on duty tomorrow. No, only that doctor can do it. It's our policy. So I said, no, it's not your policy. Where is that policy written? Sorry, excuse me. Where is that policy written? If it's a policy, it's written. It's a secret policy. It's a policy that's secret. Only we know about it. No. Stop telling lies. So they'll try to fob you with it's a policy. Then you sort of try and pin them down on it and say, no, it's not a policy. Then they try and tell lies. And then the next stage is they accuse you of a microaggression or something untoward. So again, instead of the dealing with it, but it's the urgency with which they deal with the supposed microaggression that's imaginary anyway. And there's zero urgency in actually correcting the problem itself or dealing with the issue. There is no attempt to deal with the issue, but every energy and all the time in the world is available to correct the microaggression. So next thing you know, I've got the director of medical practice on the phone. How dare you threaten our stuff? You fucking Nazi, Hitler, fascist. You're a fascist. I bet you vote for Donald. And getting all this sort of stuff. Look, this is the issue. Can you correct the issue? We're going to another specialist tomorrow. We need these test results today because first thing in the morning, we're going to see another. No, we can't do it. We can only send the results out by registered mail because it's our policy. Well, I don't believe it is your policy. Stop threatening me. You're threatening me. And so they're crying out in pain as they strike you and this sort of thing. But they won't deal with the issue. Instead, it's a fight to the death. Now, this is an all-pervasive attitude. And I'm seeing it not just in things like that, but I went to a takeout, and I've mentioned this before, I went to a takeout food store some weeks ago, and their website, and they send you emails of what the promotions are, and I went in to buy the product on promotion. And the staff didn't know anything about it. And I had a real struggle to get them to look at the website, their own website of their own company, of their own firm, to confirm that, what was it? It's a burger or something like that, was on this promotion. And they were determined to fight and argue and just the deliberate attempt to try and get you to come out with some expression of irritation or frustration. Microaggression, gotcha. Now I don't have to do what you want. I'm now free of all responsibility because you did a microaggression. And it's part of a strange modern day choreography, I think, as part of responsibility avoidance. But certainly in the medical field, so calling another organisation to try and get some test results again for a relative, and again the same sort of thing. It's our policy. Well, can you tell me that? Where is this policy written? I don't believe it is a policy. It's a policy. Well, you have to talk to our legal department. Well, no, you've said it's a policy. Where is that policy written? Have you seen it written? And then you get that quiet, that silence as the, well, why are you harassing me and threatening me? No one's harassing you or threatening you. You've said it's a policy. Now, if it's a policy, then can you tell me where that policy is? It's on the website, or you've got a policy manual at hand, or you can quote me from the policy. But if it's a policy, it's in writing. Oh, it's a secret policy. Well, no, it's not. If it's a policy that you and I have to abide by, it must be in the public domain by law. Oh, why are you oppressing me? You're harassing me. You're a Hitler. And so it goes on. And so, but again, then you have the legal department on the phone because the microaggression is what they're dealing with. Now, do they give customer service? Are they trying to help? Are they trying to solve a problem? Are they trying to? Because if it is a policy, then it's okay. Yeah, look, it's on page 10 of the website. It's a policy. It's a policy. Clause 9, subsection 3, or they can say what it is, but it isn't. So they don't think that telling lies is an issue. So they can tell whatever lies they want. They can deny anything they want. They can be as difficult as they want. But if you get irritated or frustrated, given you've got a medical appointment in the morning, then you're the problem because you did a microaggression and so on. And this is, I think, the structure of things. Why is it a danger, quite apart from not wanting to solve problems or endeavour to solve problems, or it's piss poor customer service, or it's telling lies, or it's inventing things? It's our policy, but when it's not. But they not only encourage and condone, but they protect staff that tell lies and misrepresent the company's position. But instead of dealing with that, they will then go after the person that exposes it, which is really, equivalent to what we see how the deep state deals with whistleblowers. We're not going to fix the problem. We're not going to stop doing bad things or breaking the law. We're going to, crush the whistleblower. And it seems to be in that wider architecture of attitude and understanding. But I perceive it's getting worse. Maybe it's because I got sort of an extra, double, triple dose of it over the last few weeks that I wouldn't normally get. So, it really surprises me about how any incompetence, any ineptitude, any lies, any misrepresentations are perfectly acceptable. But to complain about it or to become irritated about it without using four-letter words or anything like that, then you're the problem. It's a microaggression and they will come after you and put endless resources into doing that, but no resources, again, into solving the problem. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.